Hi guys, today we're in London with Holly Rivers,
Hello.
the author of The Boy in the Post and Demelza and the Spectre Detectors. So what inspired you to be a writer?
I came to writing kind of later on in life, I guess. Not that I'm super old, but I'm not super young either. But I've always been a storyteller of sorts, I guess. I started off as an actor.
You were in the Witch?
The Worst Witch.
Worst Witch series, yeah.
So I did that for 3 years as a teenager. So I kind of almost grew up in a children's story. The Worst Witch is based on a series of books by Jill Murphy. So yeah, I guess I've always kind of told stories, whether it be through acting, and then I kind of trained in TV and film productions. So I kind of made videos and films. So I guess I've always kind of told stories. Yeah.
So when did you first think of the idea for Demelza and the Spectre Detectors?
She came to me fully formed one day, just this vision of this long-haired, freckle-faced young inventor in her lab coat with a deerstalker hat. And yeah, she just kind of came to me fully formed. And I've always liked slightly kind of gothic, twisted, supernatural stories. And I really like the idea of those kind of two worlds combining. So she's very science-based and very logical.
But also magical.
Yeah, exactly. So having those two kind of worlds, magic and supernatural, meeting kind of science and logic. And I thought that would be quite an interesting mix for a story.
How long did it take to write the whole Demelza book?
It took ages. It was the first thing I'd kind of written, the full-length thing. Yeah. So I did a really bad first drafts are always terrible, but I kind of thought it had legs and there was bits of it that I thought were really working, but I didn't really know where to go next. So I signed up with the Golden Egg Academy, which is sort of school for children's writers, and I did a year with them working with a mentor, and it was amazing. It was great just to kind of really throw myself in, and we had kind of weekly tutorials online, and then met up every month to kind of work with our mentors. And yeah, they kind of got it in good shape. And I think by the time I finished that, I'd done about 4 drafts. And then after that, I got in contact with, I was put in contact with Chicken House, who are my publishers. And also met my agent, Kate Shaw.
Oh yeah, I saw her name in the...
Yeah, so she's brilliant, and I kind of, queried quite a lot of agents. I think it's really important when you're working with an agent to have someone that you really get on with, because you're going to be spending a lot of time with them, and she was just a brilliant fit for me. So yeah, together we kind of spoke to Chicken House and signed a 3-book deal, which was pretty jammy.
Yeah. So this process, or the first book, I guess, it took like a few years.
Yeah, from beginning to publication, I think it was pretty much 3 years, and it was 11 drafts. And I'm getting a little bit quicker now. The Boy in the Post sequel that's coming out this year, I think I only did maybe 2.5, 3 drafts of it. I'm just doing the copy edit at the moment, which is going through it with like a fine-tooth comb. So yeah, I'm definitely getting quicker.
Sounds like a process.
It's really, Are you interested in writing?
I like writing. I entered the Daunt Book short stories competition.
Nice.
Because during COVID, there's not much to do, so I thought, this is cool. So it's like the Daunt Books is where you write a short story, just a few pages, and you submit it, and then by age groups they rank you.
Nice.
I didn't win because it's my first time.
Yeah, exactly. But putting your stuff out there is like super brave, right? Yeah, well done.
But then they did send me a £5 gift certificate, so I could
Happy
use that.
days.
Yeah, save £5.
That's so great.
I just spent that actually yesterday.
I saw your tote bag. I have the same one.
So in the Demelza book, in the dedication page, I saw you dedicated to Mamgu. Is that how you pronounce it?
Mamgi. It's a tricky one. So I'm from Wales and I speak fluent Welsh. So Mamgi is the Welsh word for grandma. So it's for Mamgi, who's my mum's mum, and then grandma, who's my dad's mum. And I'm very, very close to both of them. So yeah, it's pronounced Mamgi. Yeah, grandmother. Yeah.
So who would you say is the biggest influence on your books?
Ooh, what in terms of...
Like
in terms of writing.
Yeah, author.
Ooh, that's tricky. I love Roald Dahl growing up.
Yeah, I've read all his books. Really
amazing. Like super twisted. Love the dark sense of humour. I think some of the stuff is slightly problematic in this day and age. Some of it hasn't aged very well, right? But at the core, I love that kind of mischief and kind of darkness.
You can make the dark things just, seem funny.
Yeah, exactly. And and the grown-ups are always like super horrible and the kids always triumph, and I really like that dynamic. But I guess as an adult, I really love Kieran Millwood Hargrave. Look at her stuff. She writes adult and YA and middle grade. Yeah, very kind of poetic in her language. I love Frances Harding. She's a kind of almost like a crossover between middle grade and adult, and I think she was the first middle grade to win the Costa Book Prize. M.G. Leonard I really like as well. But I like reading all sorts. I like reading kind of factual books as well. I'm reading one on magic and the occult at the moment.
Yeah, same.
And one on mushrooms.
All genres.
I think that's the most important thing about being a writer is like writing is reading. Like I think you just have to read anything, whether it's menus or newspapers or books or comics, graphic novels. It all kind of feeds in, I think, as inspiration.
Yeah, anything helps. Reading
definitely
helps with writing.
Definitely.
So what do you like to do in your free time, like when you're not writing?
I like eating and cooking. Seeing friends. I love listening to music. I'm obsessed with Björk. She's my favourite. Like watching films.
Yeah.
I've got a little chihuahua who we rehomed during lockdown called Silver. So she takes up quite a lot of my time. I love travelling as well. I've done quite a few months. So been to Mexico 3 times, which is my favourite, and we kind of travel around there for a couple of months at a time. Done quite a lot of New Zealand, Singapore, Malaysia.
Anything in the US?
I did some modelling in Miami when I was younger, which was a very weird experience. Everyone else was like super tanned and I was just kind of like pale and British and freckly. So that was quite a weird place. And New York.
Oh, yeah. New York
and Disney as well when I was a kid.
Never been, but New York sounds nice.
But yeah, I'd love to come to LA and visit.
I like LA.
Definitely.
So where do you find inspiration for your books? Or for characters, anything?
Well, characters are definitely the kind of focal point of my books.
Right.
Like all my writing definitely kind of starts with characters. Like I love kind of observing people. I love human eccentricities, I guess. So yeah, always kind of all my stories stem from kind of characters and the relationships between characters. But yeah, I love people watching.
So anybody can just turn to a book character.
Yes, definitely. Like quite a few of my characters are based on real people or kind of observations I've made. Like I'm quite nosy. I listen into conversations and write notes quite a lot. So beware. Only you can write like you, so you can kind of never be wrong because only you can kind of put down what's inside your head, and I love that kind of freedom, and I love sitting at my desk with a pot of coffee and kind of just allowing myself to kind of go into my own imagination, and then lo and behold, like 6 hours have passed and you have to come back to the real world. But it's a lovely way to not going to say earn a living because I don't completely earn a living from it, but yeah, it's a really nice thing to do for a job.